Hi, this is Dr. Ben Morrill. Welcome to episode 117. And this time we're coming to you live. So, got Kayla and Sean here as well. So, we're pretty excited to be able to talk about some of the things we've been working on that we keep telling you we can't talk about yet. So, we've got at least some that we can talk about and give you an update, let you know where we're at. Like we've done a lot of the time since we started, we've kept you all that are interested updated on what's going on, and so give you a snapshot of that tonight and a chance to ask questions. So as always, for the episodes, just let you know how testing is going with results. This is looking like it'll be a pretty normal week since Friday. I forgot last week, Friday was a holiday. So we had lots of stuff coming in on Monday and Tuesday. So we have lots of results that'll either go out tonight or tomorrow morning, probably, or maybe afternoon, since Sean's been going like crazy today. So, but yeah, so the first fast test results will probably be out sometime tomorrow, either late tonight or sometime tomorrow. And then you should have fast tests going out the rest of this week. A couple of times we'll do sex determination for ball pythons and clubrids. Panels, it'll probably be about a week. I'm just starting to prep those and get them to the sequencing center here in a couple of days. So over the weekend, we'll analyze them and get those sent out to you. So be about a week, and we'll have panel results out. We know we have people asking about that already. So yeah, that's the sample update. Like I said, I got both Kayla and Sean here, and we're really excited to tell you a little bit about what's been going on and let you guys ask questions. And I guess with that, we'll bring on Sean and Kayla.
Hi, Ben.
Hello.
Hi, Sean.
What's up, guys?
Chief Floor Sweeper has arrived.
That's right.
Hey, guys.
Yes.
I love when we do these live streams on Tuesday nights. They're fun. Yeah. Oh, and are we live on Instagram? We didn't forget them, did we?
Oh yeah. Let me see if it's going to let us. Last few
Okay,
times, it's still not letting me.
Oh my God, StreamYard! What am I paying you for?
There was
All right.
there was a little thing that popped up saying it might not work. I can try to do it on my phone. So
Sure. Worth a shot.
people that will join on Instagram won't get to see
Man.
what's on the screen, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Just hop over to YouTube.
This is like several weeks in a row now. They still have
It
that.
has been. Yeah. Just
That's
renew my subscription. Don't make me regret it. At StreamYard. Being so mean to Instagram. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to be looking off to the side, setting this up for a second.
Yeah, you're good. Let's see. There you go. Oh, that's Sean. Yeah, he's here. And hey, sweet slithering delights, you always catch the live streams. You're awesome. Good to see you again. And let's see. We got Balls of Fury. What's up, guys? Okay, which one of the four of you is that in here today? It's like four of you, right? I'm pretty sure. Will's hella heat. What's up, guys? It's Mike. Hey, Mike. Let me see here. I am so excited. Okay, because there are new tests, but as soon as we get Instagram up, we can talk about that stuff. And yeah, we have a new website up. Finally, we've been working real hard on it. Sean's been melting his brain for like the last forever about it. So
It's still melting.
it's still melting. Yeah.
It'll be melting for another couple days, but it's mostly working the way I want it to.
We like it. Almost there, Ben?
I know I've done this before, but how do I go live?
Should be able to. Oh, now that you asked me, I don't remember. Hang on.
You have a bunch of people online on Instagram. They can probably tell you. How do you go live on Instagram?
On my phone. I've done it before, but
Hey, Pure Python Fashion.
we had it
Thanks for
working
listening.
with StreamYard for a long time, and now all of a sudden it won't work anymore.
Yeah. I mean, worst case scenario, folks can join in on YouTube.
There we go. I found it.
There you go.
Okay.
Only took us 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
Woohoo!
That's all. All right. I'll talk to the people on. So for those of you just coming live on Instagram, once again, StreamYard is not letting us add you to the StreamYard live so that you'll see what's on the screen. But I'll try to keep an eye on comments over here too while we're going. But if you want to be able to see what's on the screen, or for us to make sure that we for sure see your comments, you can join on either YouTube or Facebook, and we'll see you there. But at least on this, you can hear what's going on. Y'all let me know if you hear me okay on Instagram. But like, you won't be able to see what's on the screen, but we're doing the best we can.
Yeah. And if you want to see what we're showing on the screen, hop on to watch us on YouTube or Facebook, whichever one you prefer. You can see it there. And also we'll be able to see your comments.
Yes. So. All right.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess we'll start with this stuff here. So back in 2022, when RGI officially launched at the October Tinley in 2022, this is what we started off with. Ben and Sean, y'all want to talk about that?
Yeah, that's where we. For Sean and I, it even started 11 years before that, or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it hit me when you were actually putting this together in our hour-long talk before we actually went live on how we were going to lay this out. And when I actually look at that, dude, we've come such a long way.
Yeah. For those listening,
the very first time we made those available, they all had to be sequenced, right? The first batch we ran, we had all kinds of problems. It took like 2.5 months to get everybody their results. It was awful.
We had to change from one platform, workflow, to a completely different one. And
less than a year in, we completely changed gears and tried to go for faster tests rather than more research, and completely changed gears. And now we're at how many tests now? 57?
Something like 57?
With 11, and we're at, I think about 50. Well, I guess that's not including the sex. So we're at like 59 or 60 with the 2 sex determination tests for colubrids and ball pythons. So,
well, and then that doesn't even include, if you go back and look at that original list, like Ultramel is 2 tests, right? And back then we only had Ultramel A. Took us several months to find Ultramel B. And now we know so many other of these genes have secondary and some even a third mutation. So we've got 60-ish tests, but I bet it's more like 75 when you add up all of the secondaries that we've had to find and research.
And if you see in bold, those are the new tests. We have butter, which we've been talking about the last week, and also honey, HRA, and vanilla are now live and ready to be ordered right now.
Yes. So on the website, on our Reptile Genetics or raregenetics.inc.com, those are available.
And Disco.
Yep. Disco also. Yep.
Disco's not on your list. Disco's not on your list. Disco's on there too. So I added them today. We had vanilla, disco, honey, HRA, and butter as separate tests.
And I had forgotten about the corn tests, so that puts us over 60, close to 65 with the corn.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and to go back to what we were talking about, secondary mutations, we also now have a secondary mutation for fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can test for that now too. So now, if there aren't any more hidden mutations for fire's closed out as a test. We can do both, and we'll run both like Ultramel and albino in the background. So in the future, when you get a fire test from us, we'll be running fire A and fire B, both. So,
yes.
Awesome. Yep. But I'll have to add Disco to that too, but that's awesome. So, and again, from back to where we started with those first 7 tests, including colubrid sex determination tests, didn't even know there was an Ultramel B at that time. We really couldn't have done that without y'all's help. So,
well, that's 2022. That's October of 2022.
Yeah.
So really, it's not even like a full year. That's 2 months before 2023.
Yeah. So thank you guys. Y'all are awesome. And so, yes, and if there are any tests up there that you don't see that you want us to have, send in those sheds. Tell your friends. So if you want Jaguar sheds, or if you want a Jaguar test, find other folks who work with those mutations, send in the sheds. That's how we make it happen. But yeah, so honey, disco, HRA, and vanilla are now live. Hey, oh, in Scotland, it's 12:12 a.m., but had to tune in. Hey,
And
cool is that?
Bioinformatics. Thanks for joining us.
yes, and disco.
And disco, yes. Sweet Slithering Delights. HRA will be nice. I feel like once a year someone thinks they have a new gene, but it's just HRA. Well, that's an important part of genetic testing too. You know, it's like, what on earth is this? And then you run a panel just to make sure. And well, it's HRA. At least you know now.
Yes.
So people are asking about kind of what else is in the mix. Ben, do you want to talk a little bit about? You mentioned on the YouTube show a few times that we've got a different pipeline now for faster research, and your last batch was 700 sheds worth of data that we got back. 700 sheds.
I didn't know it was 700 sheds.
Yeah, so we've updated the tools that we're using for the bioinformatics side. So we have 700, 800 whole genomes where we have deep enough coverage that they're helpful. So now we've talked a little bit about in the past how we validate a new test. And so in the past, we'd have to have, like with the Jaguar that we were just talking about, we want 20 to 40 sheds to come in. We find where we think that mutation is. We design something, we look at it, and we make a test, and we want to test it out. Well, then we need another, 20, 30, 40 Jaguar sheds, and then a bunch that we know are negative. Well, now with these 700, 800 genomes that we have, we know what those animals have, and also equally importantly, what they don't have. And so, like, if I started looking for Jaguar and I have a spot where I think, oh, that might be the mutation, before I had to design primers, order them, sequence it, look at it, and then run a bunch of negatives. And then if it pops up in something that we didn't expect it to, then I learn, oh, that's not the right mutation, because we also see it in these other animals. Well, now I can go in electronically. So I call it eval, or electronic validation. I can eval a whole bunch. I can do 300 or 400 in 20 minutes. I can just go pop in 300 or 400 that I know are negative for Jaguar, should be. And if those 300 or 400 all come up negative, then I have a much higher confidence that whatever this mutation is the correct one, because I'm seeing it in whatever Jaguars I have, but then it's also absent in like 400 other animals, or 700 if I feel like I need to look at all of them or whatever. So that's one part of how these new tools are really helping us out. There's a lot of other more complicated things that having these tools, specifically the way we've sequenced each sample individually, and then essentially like tags. Like if you go to a website, there's tags, or like a publication or something like that. We do the same thing, letting us know, tag to each sample, what's for sure there and what's possibly there. So it's a really powerful tool that's taking years to build up, and lots of money. And then most of all of you sending sheds in. Like we've said a million times, and we'll keep saying it, we definitely couldn't have done it without you all sending sheds in. And then we'll keep building that as well. So another 6 months, we probably have another 700 that we can use to validate things and make sure we know what's going on, stuff like that.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. I guess we'll take a couple of questions. Will's Hella Heat was asking, are you going to be doing non-known supers like Stranger?
I'm not completely sure what you're asking. We'll definitely have a test for Stranger. I have a pretty good general location for it, but I don't have a good test yet. Maybe what you're saying is that it might be like leopard, where the homozygous or the super looks the same as the heterozygous. Is that what you're saying there, Will? Sorry, I'm not.
That's what I took from it, if that helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, we made a leopard test, and that way people will know if they have a super leopard. We'll definitely do the same with with stranger. So we'll have a stranger test. You'll know if it's negative or if it's got one copy, or it's het for stranger. If it's got two copies, it's homozygous for that stranger mutation.
Yeah.
We're on
Awesome.
that.
And Sweet Slithering Delights was asking, how was the tri-stripe data? Because I think you mentioned tri-stripe was in that last batch of data, I'm pretty sure. So with D-stripe being confirmed different via breeding, I'm wondering if you'll get sent any tri-stripe sheds that are actually D-stripe, and it kind of messes things up.
Yeah, those are the fun things that we get to try to work out.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good to know. I honestly, I have heard of the D-stripe. I haven't followed that much, but if any of you sent in tri-stripe sheds you think maybe could be D-stripe instead, warn us.
Yeah,
we
definitely.
we don't include that into the known pile.
Yeah. Let's see. Will's Hella Heat. Has Jaguar been 100% confirmed not zebra already, like Mackenzie has? I don't think we've had enough research to be able to say that.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah, I can't tell you. I haven't seen any data on that.
Fair enough. I know we've been hunting for zebra for a hot minute, but
yeah,
getting there. And how about confusion?
Same thing with the stranger. I have a good general location. Obviously, we expect it to be right near acid.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, I think we've talked a little bit about, it does seem to have some linkage or to be fairly close in proximity to red stripe. So we're working on all three of those to figure out exactly if they're in the same gene or genes that are relatively close together. The recombination rates on different chromosomes are different, and even parts of chromosomes will recombine different. So anyway, we're working on that. But yeah, confusion is another one that we could have in a week, or maybe we'll keep having problems with it. Don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's see. How is the Cine test going with getting it to be a fast test? Has cinnamon been giving us trouble?
Yeah, it doesn't work as a fast test. That's a nightmare where that sequence is. It's really complicated sequence that doesn't want to cooperate with a lot of different molecular biology techniques. So no, so far, if you send in a Cine test, it'll have to go on a panel. The only way I can do that right now is to add it on a panel run, and we won't run a whole panel on it, but in that panel run, the kind of sequencing I do, I can get that data for cinnamon, but I can't do it as a fast test yet.
Fair enough. Prophecy Exotics, there's like 5 red stripes now.
It could be.
Yeah. I know that we've been hunting down like the extra weird stuff popping on red stripe, but that'll be cool once we do find that out.
Yep, there's stuff just like figuring out butter, just like figuring out NOCO special. You know, as we dig, as we run more samples from all of you, we learn more things. So
exactly. Oh, actually, that kind of relates to GRP Exotics asking, when you do a test for DG, does it include A and B genes? No. That was another example of it seemed like it was polygenic at first. There was a big hullabaloo about that. And then we realized as more sheds came in, it was actually just the DGC is Desert Ghost. A and B might be involved further, but it's just DGC.
A and C are on the same chromosome, so the results there are always very similar, if not identical. B is a bit of an outlier and kind of an interesting one, but it's not something that we're interested in pursuing. If a breeder wants to chase it, we can test for it, but we haven't even bothered making a fast test. So if you want B results, we can get them, but they have to be sequenced just like the panel stuff, because it's just not on our important list of stuff to do. But it's weird that it travels as often with DG as it does. That's all we can really do. It's unusual. It means it's being selected most likely by breeders for some reason and probably some visual effect. But again, that's all theory, and it's not really something that we can chase and make it worth chasing. That's going to be up to breeders to make it a project and spend 5 or 6 years working on it and seeing what they can figure out. That's one of the things that fascinates me about DG is just that. These genes that travel with other genes that are nowhere near them, and they shouldn't occur as often as they do. That's pretty clear evidence of breeder selection. And I just find that super interesting. That's a possible, not mutation, right? But a possible gene that is another lightning gene of some kind that we just haven't narrowed down. And I say we, meaning the hobby. We
Right.
just can't trace every little thing like that because it's so hard to find.
Fair enough.
But that one interests me like crazy. I love that one, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Definitely. Let's see. Before we take a few more questions, let's talk about panel stuff, because we do have something exciting going on there. We mentioned this last week. The panel test is now 48 total tests. So we added 3 more, Butter, Huffman, and NoCo Special. And they're on the house. You don't pay any extra for them. So if you got your panel test results, and they just went out, what was it, this week, yesterday, Ben?
I'm about to prep those and send them. So we'll have results in about a week.
Awesome. So you'll get 3 extra mutation tests on your panels, for no extra cost. That's just on us. And it was easy to add those in. And I think you might even be adding more to the big panel, Ben.
Yeah. Well, we're working on that. I don't know for sure how fast that will be, but yeah, it'll, instead of being 48, we'll be at least in the 50s somewhere here before too long.
Yeah. Being 50 will be super satisfying. That's for sure. Nice.
Not as good as 60 though, but
that's true. Yeah.
Let's see.
Especially if it doesn't cost more.
I mean, at risk of kind of sharing a little bit of our secrets on panels here, as the price does go for genes, there's definitely a value add, but it actually costs us.
It cut off as you said that.
Oh, did it?
Not to share the secrets. The secrets.
My internet here sucks. Just because I talk to people all the time about, wow, somebody.
Thanks, Atomic.
Thank you for that. You don't see that very often. Thank you, Atomic Creations.
Thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, as this gets bigger, we really don't want to raise the price anymore. We're trying not to. We used to explain it like this. It's whenever we do a panel run, we have to do a chemical mix of primers that looks for all of these genes. And when it was 6, 8, or 10, or 12, it was all one run for you as a customer. Now we're up to 3 runs, right? So because we just can't combine them all in one run anymore. So it takes more of Ben's time, more of Ben's analysis. It just takes longer, a little bit more in cost. So is the price going to go up now? No, but I mean, as we keep adding stuff to it, it might have to. I used to say this in the beginning, we're going to quit somewhere around 30. Well, here we are at 48. We're about to break 50 probably.
Yeah.
So somewhere along the line, we are probably going to have to cap it. It just until this all becomes digital and it's no longer as much manpower. Ben's time is valuable, and at this point, it takes you what, soup to nuts, 4 solid days to do a panel run worth of work.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it depends on, it does vary how many go into a run. But yeah, it's quite a bit of work.
Yeah.
So when you consider we do a panel run once a month, Ben spends almost an entire week doing just panels, just that one panel run. That's how much work it is.
It's like setting up and the analysis once I get the data back. Yeah.
It's a ton.
Yeah. Let's see. Should keep the all test panel and just add more panel options, just all recessives. Funny thing, funny that you say that. Funny that you mentioned that, because we now have an all recessives panel that is going live tomorrow.
Yes. So you all have asked that many times, and we've made it happen. So we will have that available. You'll be able to order that on our website. And I think that Morph Market will have it as well when they can. They'll have to take a little time to program it in, but yeah, we'll have that all recessives panel. So those of you that just want to see if there's something hiding in there that's set for something you don't know about, then we'll have that for you.
Yeah, definitely. Really, really glad to see this working too. So it's going to come at basically the same time that the multi-panel runs as well, right?
Multi-panel and recessive panel should both be live tomorrow on our site. If not, it'll be the next day for sure. The all recessive panel will get added to Morph Market whenever they get around to it.
Yeah. Do we have a price? Yeah.
We haven't really decided yet. It's
Okay.
going to be less expensive than the big panel, obviously, but
Yeah.
But we don't really know yet. I mean, what was the original 12 gene panel priced
Oh
at?
gosh.
$105 or something?
Yeah, I think
I
something.
think so. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm thinking 110, 115 right in there. I think that's fair. We're going to try, we're at 17 recessives right now. We're going to try and get to 20 if we can,
Ooh.
and stick around that number. So we think that's fair.
Yeah. It'll be worth it. Yeah, definitely.
138.99. I like the way you think, man.
You want all recessives to be $1 cheaper?
1 penny cheaper.
Is that what the 48 is 139?
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what other.
Yeah, awesome. Very, very grateful to you for gathering sheds and sending them in. We will definitely be working on other species. So this is a great time to send those in.
I am so hyped for other species. Oh my gosh.
Let's just say there's a lot of stuff we're not going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, keep sending boa sheds.
Yes, please.
As you got.
Awesome. Oh, Ben and I are fighting over comments again. There we go. Brew balls need paint and tri-stripe to be part of it when they're figured out.
Yes, yeah. And there's someone, Serpent House is asking about paint on Instagram also. Yeah, we're still working on paint. That's another one. I have a good general area, but I don't have it singled out yet. So
yeah,
in there. We really, honestly, over the last like 3 months, a lot of the time has been spent updating these genomic tools and working towards changing the site where the website where we'll be able to have you interact more directly, be able to order directly, and we've got a lot of cool stuff we'll show you on the website. But yeah, the website and then updating these bioinformatics tools, that's taken up a lot of time. And now we're to a point where we can start using both of those things instead of working. We'll still be working on them though. I'm sure, especially the next couple of weeks, we'll still be doing a lot of stuff. But yeah, we very quickly here we'll be able to move a lot faster on a lot of things.
Awesome. Do we need hypo or blood red corn snake sheds? Yes, all of the above. Yeah, corn snake people send those sheds. Other rat snakes plans and updates other than corn snakes. I'm constantly hounding Ben about black rat snakes and the whole like Pantherophis complex. So you know I've got that one on lock. So send those sheds if you got them.
Yeah, an episode a couple weeks ago talking about some rat snake.
Well, that was
yeah. So yeah, we've got stuff coming.
Rat genetic testing. Okay, do you mean rat snake or like rat mammal furry cuddly thing?
There's a lot of rat and mouse genetics worked out there, but
that's true. Oh my! See, that's something somebody could do. Like, I mean, maybe it'll be us, in 10 years, but
the fancy rat.
Oh yeah, rat's the mammal. Okay, yeah. Because yeah, you're right. Like a ton of genetics work has been done with mice and rats as the base, so it's kind of out there.
I was gonna say there's got to be a bunch of publications out there already on all that stuff,
right? Yeah. Harass us about it at Colubrid Fest? Yes, please, dude. At Colubrid Fest, which we will be there, and you guys should join. It's very fun. I'm literally going to be there, like walking around. Oh, that's a really nice snake. Hey, that one shed in the cup. Can I have that? Thanks. I did it last year. I'm doing it again this year.
Yeah, I really got a bunch last year.
We did. It was awesome. I got boxes full of them in my guest room. Yeah. High bomb projects.
Hey.
What's up, y'all?
We also had a question about weather acid confusion and static. So this is Cole Manco on Instagram. So once again, for those of you on Instagram, unfortunately, StreamYard won't let us stream so that you guys can see what's on our screen. So if you want to see what we're showing, pictures and things like that, unfortunately, you got to switch to YouTube or Facebook. But if you're good just listening and seeing my background there, then we're happy to have you. But they're asking about confusion acid and static. So I
Yeah.
really honestly haven't had many statics sent in whatsoever. With acid and confusion,
Mhm.
I do know enough that they're not testing identical for me. So it does seem like there is a difference between acid and confusion. I
Mhm.
would expect they're in the same gene, but they don't seem to be the same mutation. There is something different about them. So yeah, we'll find out hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of shows, I actually want to talk to you guys about something one of our sponsees has been doing. Leviathan Snakes. You probably know them more than you know us. To be honest, they're amazing. They posted this video about a month ago, but it just there's the what's the word for it? Thumbnail for it. The must-watch update about the Southeast Reptile Expo, and I want to show you guys a little bit of what they're talking about in this. So let me swap over here. If we get an ad, I apologize. But yeah, watch this.
This August, Atlanta, Georgia is hosting the third Southeast Reptile Expo. And for this week's video, we have a huge announcement to make about the show. So we got together with Bob, Mary, and Daniel, as well as some other amazing people in the industry.
Hey, we know those
together,
guys.
we are going to be putting on the first series showcase, which is a breeding competition specifically focused on reptiles.
So like they're actually doing
Before we really dive into the show,
so like they're doing kind of like a reptile show in a reptile show. Like just based on visuals and aesthetics. Like it's going to be judged partly by the crowd, by people just looking at these animals and talking about like how beautiful they are at the show, and voting for the most visually appealing. Like we're making living art, and this is going to be a showcase of that. Not just we piled all these mutations together, but does it look good?
Come on now, geeked.
Interesting, like how they show rats. Yeah, like how they show rats.
Think about snakes, bro. Rats are important too, but snakes are better, right? I think we can say that safely in this group.
I think I don't know. A lot of us end up like, the snake doesn't eat a rat or a mouse, and you're like, oh man, that's really cute. And now, like me, my partner Jay is getting into breeding fancy mice and also feeder mice. So I got a live-in rat plug. It's awesome. I always thought that was a great idea. Yeah, like a dog show. And they do host rat shows. Yeah.
I mean, from a hobby standpoint, and as a business person, if you ask anybody who's been doing this for a while, the one thing about shed testing is that we kind of close the window on how long it takes to work on some of these projects that are multiple genes, right? And
oh yeah,
ultimately, it's going to get to a point where there are a lot of people that can produce a whole lot of the most popular combos, even if you're talking about 4 or 5 or even 6 mutations. And at that point, it becomes less about just the mutations, but also the quality and the genetics of the animal that makes that, right. There's a difference between a DG exanthic animal that looks like crap and one that looks amazing. And we know it, they all have the same genes, but the ones that look amazing tend to look amazing. The ones that look like crap continue to tend to look like crap. So, we can't test for all of that stuff, but you can win an award for that and go, hey, this is an LMK line exanthic, whatever, and it won the SEER Showcase Award in 2026. And you can trace all of his offspring back genetically to this founding animal, and all of his offspring look like this. And I mean, as carpet python guys, what was the first guy that did the was it gamma line of jags and carpets?
Yeah.
I don't John Battaglia, right? I don't think he even keeps carpets anymore, but people still have gamma line jags, right? And back then, no one could track that, but we can track it now, right?
Yeah.
And so the goal here is to give people that have been doing this a long time the ability to differentiate themselves from, maybe the other guys that are just throwing whatever snakes together that they can to make the same combo. Because at some point, it's more than just the combo of the mutations. It's also the quality of the animals that went into making that combination, right? So that's the goal. And the first annual is going to be at the SEER show a month from now, like 4.5 weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
And then hopefully we'll start popping up at multiple shows all over.
Yeah, and actually, there's going to be, I think, a Krusty section of this show as well, from what I understand. You'll have to watch the video itself. So, go on Leviathan Snakes after this, and massive announcement for fall 2025. I'll go ahead and play this section.
August 9th, the Saturday of the Southeast Reptile Expo. And then, once the Saturday show closes, what will end up happening is we, behind the scenes, will go through it and aggregate all of the scores together and come up with the final scores for each of the animals. And then, Sunday, we are going to announce the winners, and those winners will be awarded either a blue ribbon for coming in first for whatever specific category they are in,
Blue ribbon
a
for your
purple
animal.
ribbon if they win Best Ball Python, regardless of the subcategory that they are in, and lastly, a trophy for the best reptile in the entire show, regardless of the category that they were in.
Yeah. So, we're looking at, you can say, oh, this animal won a blue ribbon at this show. And so, you have a blue ribbon line pedigree of animals like we do for, show quality dogs, rodents, horses, even. And it kind of elevates the reptile hobby because we've been doing the work for this. And I think I think the hobby is going to be moving more in a direction where we're seeing higher quality animals rather than just let's get a bunch of crazy morphs stacked together. Let's make something beautiful. And people specializing into specific morphs, special NOCO specials. We had I loved what I can't forgive me for forgetting his name.
Kyle Frost.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I loved how his specials look. He just really dug into the best of the best of those animals, and it's amazing. So I'd love to see more of that. I see it some in the colubrid world with people really digging into locality morphs and locality, just the best possible quality they can get. So I love it. And I'd love to see this catch on in the reptile hobby. They're doing something special. So,
and to answer rough country morphs, it is based solely on looks. So there will be, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, but there will be an animal with a number there. You won't know who produced it, animal you look at, and you can just go through with your phone, scan the QR code. You're standing at number 17, you scan the QR code, say number 17, and then you have the ability to give it 1 through 5 stars. And then there's going to be 3 other judges. So someone else was asking about who the other judges are. There will be 3 other judges that will also do the same thing.
Ben will be one.
Well, they thought that was a good idea for now. We'll see if they change their mind in the next month.
Yeah.
I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm happy to, like I told them, I'm happy to do it, but I'm also happy to not do it. So.
Yeah, so it's important for everybody to understand that it's not about the combo, really. You have to meet certain qualifications. Right now, there's only 3 classes. I think it's best recessive combo, best incomplete dominant combo, right, Ben? Correct me if I'm wrong. And then a gecko class, right? And anybody can join the show that's at the show, right? So you just have to bring it in. And it can be it can just be a super nice, like Steven says, it can just be a really nice clown. And that's it. But if it is a badass clown and it looks phenomenal, it can win. It's not about the combination of the genes. It's about the overall look of the animal. That is just stunningly beautiful. That's what we're looking for in the hobby, is to take the art aspect of what we do to another level. And then to go back to what Rough Country's question said is, ultimately, if this catches on, we have the ability right now to genetically blueprint those winning animals, right? So if you decide you want to be the Rough Country line of clowns and you work on it and you develop a really nice award-winning line of clowns and you want to attach your name to it, we can fingerprint your founding animals and we can track other people that have animals that are Rough Country line clowns and say, yep, they're absolutely related. We can do that. We can do it now. But we don't really offer to do it much now, but we can do it. So we see this in the future, like 3 years, it just opens up a whole nother facet of, it's less about making the super combos and trying to stay ahead of the game and more about making the best animals possible. And, you know, people are already known for certain things anyway, right? Why not slap a few years worth of awards on it and be able to back it up with, award-winning 5 years in a row kind of thing, right? So
I just saw Miguel from Always Evolving pop in on IG. So what's up, Miguel?
Hey, what's up, Miguel?
So yeah, definitely cool. And if you're, super obsessive, you can keep doing the gene stuff, gene stacking stuff, and also do some refining. So there's no reason to just pick one. You can do a little bit of everything. But I think this will be a really cool opportunity. When I was doing my dissertation, my PhD, I was collecting data at TSK, so with Dan and Colette Sutherland. And one of the days I was there, picking up stuff from them to use in my dissertation, they're like, "Hey, do you want to see the best Mojave you've probably ever seen?" They're the ones that brought in the Mojaves originally, and they had thousands of animals there, so they producing lots and have lots to refine and things like that. And I mean that I wish I would have taken a picture. That was far enough back. That's over 15 years ago. I didn't have a handy way to take a picture as handy as I do now, or anywhere near as good a quality. But yeah, it was the color and the contrast on it, super crisp. I mean, it's way better than any other Mojave I've seen. And so to see people that, I think of Chris Hernan, his refining for mind blowing oranges, and there's other people that have, kind of picked specific either colors or morphs combos or whatever, and made them better and better. And that's another way to go. And I think that's, something very useful in our industry and hobby, and be something else other people get excited about and be a part of. And we're hoping in the future we have Morph Market. We'll have badges. You can say, hey, this was third, second place, or this is a winner for best clown or whatever. Well, we hope to see all that come online over time.
Reptiles are like the only pet industry that doesn't do this.
Yeah, so it's about time we did it.
And I know that I think there's already a gecko showing group. So really? I actually reached out to them, to see kind of what they've done and if they want to collaborate with us with some ideas and stuff. But hey, Adam asked a question, Adam Granger, really quick. If you scroll a little bit about panels, we get this all the time, right? And I use this analogy because it works for my brain, and I'm old and not a scientist. So the short answer, Adam, to your question, is it too difficult to do a customizable panel test?
Yeah.
The short answer is yes, but it kind of also depends on how big the panel is. So let me explain it to you like this in layman's terms, right? Let's take a normal well margarita, right? That's like 4 ingredients, right? The margarita is the panel test, and the ingredients are each of the individual genes inside of the panel. Well, now I'm going to give you 13 sets of ingredients. You have to make the same margarita and it has to taste the same, or a bunch of those tests aren't going to work. That's the challenge of doing a multi-gene panel. The more stuff you add to it, and especially if it's different genes every time, it literally screws up the mix and stuff stops working. That's why. It's just we can. That's the 10 or 12 if we get 10 or 12 to work, that's the 10 or 12 that we can run. But if we can throw one extra one in there and it can make 2 of the other ones stop working. That's the problem. That's the challenge that we're having right now. When this all eventually goes digital, which is where it will go eventually, then you'll be able to basically pick and choose whatever test you want to do, because it's just a computer running the test for you once we have the shed data into the system.
Right. Wacky chemistry, basically. For wacky chemistry reasons.
Basically, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can run a panel any way that you want it, as long as it's one of the ones that we do.
Yeah.
So Blue-Eyed Lucy, Yellow Belly, Spider Complex. Now starting tomorrow, we'll have the all recessives.
All recessives.
And the 48. But to have like a 40 morph panel for you where you just take off 8 of them, it doesn't save any money at all, because we still would have to run all of those, because that's how we've optimized it so that they run well. So we could sell you a 41 and I don't have to analyze those last 8, but it's going to cost you the same. Maybe we can save you a couple bucks because it's less analysis time, but I mean, it's not really worthwhile. Just doesn't work.
Yeah. Good stuff. Ooh, Lambert cone. It's like old school pastel. Some are much better than the diluted animals nowadays.
There were some pretty dirty pastels back in the day, though, too. But I mean, there still is today.
Yeah.
That I think pastel is probably one of the best examples of just how variable. I really thought when we developed the pastel test that there was going to be multiple mutations because, like back in the day, there was Graziani and lemon and this and that, and some pastels were amazing and really bright and clean, and others were super dirty. And once they're adults, you couldn't even tell they were a pastel. So that's an excellent example of what we're talking about in this showcase at the SEER show, where you'd be able to get some recognition for the work you do and cleaning up some of these more. So those really nice, clean pastels, I know I would happily pay twice as much for a really nice, clean one than one of the really dirty ones. So, that's something that will benefit everyone if we're not only trying to get as many combinations as we can, and then making new combinations to find out what it does. That's awesome too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But then we have an added benefit of improving single morphs, but then also specific combinations, stuff like that. I think that's going to add another fun dimension to everything.
Yeah. Pastel ambassador. GRP, you got some good pastels?
The show thing just is interesting for me because if you get lucky and you win some awards early in your Python breeding career, you can build an entire business off of that.
That's true.
You can found all of your stuff based on a few awards that your line of pastel or fire or whatever, that it levels the genetic testing levels the playing field so much, but it also brings opportunities for people that are coming in, not just from now I can make that combo in 6 years instead of 10, but now it's also, I don't even have to make that combo. I can just make a really badass example of this. And some of these, by the way, will happen by chance. I mean, as a guy who used to breed carpet pythons by the thousands, literally, they're incredibly variable. Some in a given clutch are just mind blowing, and others are just dirt ugly. Well, ball pythons aren't all that different. In any given clutch of 6 or 7 animals, you're going to have variance in quality. And every once in a while, you'll just get lucky and you may have an animal that's relatively simple, but it's just awesome. Yeah. It may just be a clown, but it's awesome. It looks great. There's something anomalous about the pattern, and it's so light or so high contrast or whatever. You enter that in a show, you win best in show of all of the best breeders at that show that year. That's something to brag about. You can build a business on that animal.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So cool.
And GRP exotics, I would agree to this point. That is kind of how, especially ball python breeding, where Sean and I differ. We've worked with some of the other pythons and other species. Sean also worked in fish too. Yeah, I think that you're right to this point. That's kind of, ball python breeders have been less worried about what line or what lineage or, who you got that morph from or whatever to this point. But I think that this kind of a competition to publicly give the flowers, the accolades to the people that put in work to really refine something. Once that's happening in a public setting and people realize, if I buy my my jaguar from this guy or my clown from that person, or it could also be combos like really, really nice GHI Mojaves. Like, I mean, it's hard to make a GHI Mojave cooler than it is with those 2 mutations. But if you refine it to make it super, super good, crisp lines and contrast, things like that, I would happily pay 3 times more for a perfect GHI Mojave rather than a run-of-the-mill one. And I think as ball python breeders, since we had so many choices of mutations to play with, morphs to play with, it makes sense that we haven't done that. But I think it's getting to a point now where we have so many that are stacked on top. But a lot of the time when you walk into your snake room, a good test for this is if you walk into your snake room and you have someone come in that's never kept ball pythons, are you going to show them your 7 morph thing, or are you going to show them a piebald, And what if you had a really nice, clean, like perfect 50-50, awesome contrast pied to show them? They're going to be way more interested in that than they are, a 7 morph combo in most cases, So I think that we've kind of missed out on that because we've been so lucky in having so many different morphs to play with. But I think it's starting to get to the point where I think more and more people are going to want to do that, be able to really refine the combos or the specific mutations they really love.
Yeah. And that's what it boils down to, refining the things you love, making more of what you love, rather than just combo chasing. Because I feel like that can be, you can feel pretty crestfallen in it. Oh, also, by the way, I'd like to show off Potato has made a visit very close to the camera this time. She likes to sit right up front and, block my view of the screen because she is the cat and she must.
Anyway, it's a really good video that everybody should go check out. Even Justin Kaboka chimes in on the end of that video for a couple of minutes saying basically which is basically all what we just said, which is, at some point you have to start looking at other things other than just cramming as many mutations into an animal as possible.
Yeah.
It has to start becoming more about the quality of what you're producing. And, do some people out there that have been doing this a long time have a head start? Sure. They always keep back their best stuff to breed. We all do that. It still opens up doorways for newer keepers, which is what I like the most about it. And this is just 3 categories. And, Ben mentioned that I was in the fish world for a long time. If any of you have ever done fish shows or anything, fish people are nuts, man. They'll produce fish, raise them all year in very specific tanks, shine flashlights on them at feeding time so that they'll flare their fins, get all excited, and then they'll put them in a bag and ship them halfway across the country or to another, show or whatever, right? And then the judges come through with their flashlights and the fish will flare out and strut around because it wants to get fed, right? And then that animal's sold on auction. But the point is, it's a whole different level of keeping and working with these animals that no one here just has done anything with. And I can totally see people going, you know what, I want to put this particular background behind my snake because I think it makes it pop more. And you know what, I know I'm not supposed to feed it this show, but I'm going to feed him like right before I put him in the cage. And if he craps in there, that's okay. Sean will have to clean it, but he's going to look nice and chunky and good for the show, right? It's like there's going to be people doing all kinds of silly stuff, but that's part of the fun of showing animals.
Oh yeah.
Or feeding them a large male like 1 month before, hoping that they'll shed right before the show.
Yeah, well, that too, right?
Oh,
you
yeah.
try and time up, yeah.
And Marcus Jane Reptiles, hey, he's on Instagram, but he said 100% with 3 exclamation points. So thanks for being here, Marcus Jane Reptiles. And yeah, I think there's a lot of us, especially if you've done any breeding in other captive animals, dogs, like people were saying earlier. There's someone earlier saying they do like show grade rat breeding, rats. So yeah, I mean, it, like Sean said, reptiles are kind of the only place that hasn't really done this in the U.S. It sounds like in Asia they are doing it already for at least some reptiles. So it's starting, and I think it will bring a lot of cool things that we can focus on, work on, make better, and also more aspects of the hobby that other people that are just learning about it might get excited about and want to be a part of. So
awesome. Hey, Sean.
So we're at 54 minutes. How much time do you have in Insta before they kick everybody?
Instagram, we got
but Instagram's not on StreamYard, so I think
so they won't put them after an hour. Okay,
unfortunately, I'll just say one more time for anyone that's just joined in on Instagram, you're not going to be able to see the pictures we're showing because unfortunately StreamYard's not letting us have you join. But in the end, when we hit an hour, it would have kicked Instagram out anyway. So if you're good just listening, then go ahead and stick here. If you want to see what's on the screen, jump onto YouTube or Facebook, and you'll be able to see the screen also.
Yeah. Oh, IG gives a 3 hour live limit. Okay, good. It's 3 hours. Awesome. And Jamie, hi.
Hey.
Good to see you.
We can also see your comments better, and they'll pop up on the screen if you're in either Facebook or Facebook or YouTube. I always say that wrong.
I don't do Instagram, so I can see them when they do it here.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome. So, Sean, you want to talk about the website?
Sure. Yes. Not really, but yes.
Can't see the screen. The cat's in the way.
let me see if I can remember how to do this. Do I need to do anything?
Oh, actually, here, I will make it nice and easy. Cat, please. Thank you.
Potato looks like my cat Tux. They're like twins.
Yes, big fluffy creature. She's the worst, but I love her. She's my daughter. You know. There we go. All right, Sean, it's all you.
Yay for the new website.
Yay!
Let me bring it up here.
Mhm.
Okay. So I'm assuming everybody can see the homepage, right? Did you make it nice and big, Kayla, for everybody to see?
There we go.
Okay. So everybody's been to the new site. We redesigned it, put it up a couple months ago. Everyone knows we use vendors to sell our tests, Morph Market and Clutch. They're still highly visible on our site, and that's for a reason. They've been great partners for us, and we have no intentions of ever abandoning those relationships. Couldn't ask for better business partners than those two groups of people. So we have no plans on moving from there. So one of the benefits of building a new website and spending the last few days stressing about making everything look right is you overlook really obvious things. The first being somewhere on this website, I think it's this next page. Order through RGI coming soon. Well, that's actually today, and I forgot to
Yay!
so that'll come down tomorrow. So you guys are seeing this page for a reason, though. Morph Market and Clutch are not doing this yet, and I want to make sure the word gets out there because this is a coding change that I could make happen. But within a week, Morph Market's probably going to come on board. Within another week or so, Clutch is probably going to come on board. But our commitment to Morph Market and Clutch for them allowing us to sell direct to the consumer was that we would allow them to sell our tests at 15% off all the time. So any test that we offer for anything, colubrid, sex determination, some of the other services that we offer through Morph Market, all the stuff on Clutch, it's all 15% off. Now, it's not yet, but it will be. And I'll show you guys how to be able to tell. And I can't see the scroll by right now. So if anyone has any questions, can you guys speak up and tell me so I can stop and go through everybody? So right now, all I really wanted to focus on, because our core business is ball pythons, but as you can already see, we plan on adding corn snakes because we already have 4 tests. We have a blood python test. We can do pied testing right now. But that's all part of the RGI website version 2, which is already in the works. This is the fast and dirty. How can we make it super easy for a customer to purchase a test from us? So go to purchase tests, and there it is. I think we're going to clean up these white buttons to where it just says single gene test, multi-gene test. The reality is, though, single gene and multi-gene test pages work identically. So clearly you just order now, enter a snake ID, known genetics, right? Comment.
Seriously, it's white.
Yeah. Choose whatever genes you want. Add to cart. Scroll back up.
How many can they choose? If you just want to order one?
You can I believe choose up to 3 genes in addition to the primary. No more than 4. After that, you should really consider just looking at a panel because you're going to spend more money. It's better for you to just order the panel. And panels are partially available now, but we'll go over that in a minute. Anyway, you go to checkout. If you add promotion code, I'm going to put one in from our boys over at Rhino. Apply. There's a 15% discount right off the top. Promo code. So go out, find our vendors, ask them what their promo codes are, what the discount is. Use it on our website. The link service already remembers my credit card from testing, so it's already pre-filled out. I don't have to do anything. The thing about our site that's a little different from other folks is I'm going to make you put your animal ID right here. And the reason I'm doing that is the way our invoices work right now. An invoice number, you'll get your snake identifier, but it's not going to tell you what genes you purchased. So it's really important that you write down your snake ID number correctly because you're going to be the one who remembers what you purchased for that animal. That'll be corrected, but I don't know if that's going to happen in the next few days or if it's going to come out in version 2 of the website. But anyway, that's what it looks like. We'll just call this snake my name, if I can spell it.
John.
Yep.
Sean the snake.
And that's it. You're done. It's super easy, super fast, sends you to an instruction page, which tells you how to prep your sheds and where to send them. Most of you guys already know all this stuff anyway. But if you are a new customer, and we hope we'll find lots of new customers this way, and you follow these instructions, and that's it. You'll get an email from us with your invoice number. You have your instruction page here. One of the things we're adding is a button so that you can print all this out. But I mean, you can do that yourself if you're computer savvy even a little bit. That's pretty much it about the single gene testing. Multi-gene is the same way. It's like I said, it's the exact same page. Basically, you can order up to 3 different animals, right? So snake 1, known genetics, comment. Let's choose vanilla, add to cart. Now it's a part of our summary. Let's go in, add snake 2, add vanilla. Oh, sorry, should have probably done it here. Let's do yellow belly, and then we'll add a secondary gene, vanilla, add to cart. And there's our snake 1, snake 2. These are the same prices that you'll find on Morph Market and Clutch today. And with promo codes from many of our vendors that are being advertised right now, everything's 15% off when you use a promo code. If not, you just pay us full price. You can add up to 3 animals. After that, the system won't let you do any more. That limitation is intentional. If you've got 6 animals, send me a couple of orders. It's easy to keep it simple. It's easy to keep track of what's what. Anything over that, you should be going to the bulk order link up here and sending me a spreadsheet of what you need, and I can offer you a way better price. Once you have more than 10, animals or 20 to 25 tests total, so 10 animals with 2 tests each, I can give you a pretty good price because I can start bulk order running that stuff. But anyway, the whole point of this is for it to be super fast, super easy. You can literally buy a test in about a minute. No more going and having to have an account at Morph Market or a Clutch. Those guys recognize that that's a barrier for people to do shed testing. So they let us build this for you guys so that you can go in and very quickly, if you got an animal you have no intention of selling, you don't want to put it on the marketplace, you just want to get something tested, you don't want to spend 20 minutes figuring out how to do it. Well, that's why we built this. Super fast, super easy. Send me your sheds. You'll get a result within 36 hours. Done deal. Okay,
Awesome.
So we do have a question that popped up from Maine's Morph. Says, can you pay for bulk orders on the website?
No, you cannot. That's not something I've built in yet. The bulk orders is a completely independent, separate spreadsheet. Don knows that because he's running one with me right now. We just handle those independently. Version maybe 3 of the website will do that, but that's some serious integration at that point. I can, however, send you an invoice. So I can create an invoice, send it through our website so that it's got our logo on it, and just say, here's a $500 invoice for these tests, and you can pay it that way. You just have to ask me to send you the invoice. And then it'll let you come back in, click in, make your payments, and be all done. But you can't do it really through the store. You have to ask me to invoice you. So there's that. Panels. We have panels too, obviously. The only 3 that are available right now are Spider, Yellow Belly, and the Blue-Eyed Lucy. We're working a lot on the Black-Eyed Lucy right now. And then the 48, soon to be 50 plus panel will be on there tomorrow. Oh yeah, the fire panels will be on there too, but we're not done.
We're still working on that, but yeah,
we're not done with that one yet. But it'll be added as soon as we are. And then the recessive panel, the big panel and the recessive panel should be on there tomorrow. And cool. Okay, so there's that. So have any of you guys taken the time to go through and actually look at the gene page? So we spent a lot of time and effort working on this. Right now, all of the animals on here look about like this one. There's usually a picture. There's a rating. All of the ratings can be found at the bottom of any of the gene sections. We are rating our tests now because we've learned that although we think we have something figured out, until we run a whole bunch of them and we don't have any problems, we need to be aware of the fact that there are secondary mutations. Trying to add test grades. D is the lowest test grade we'll go, and that's something that we know works 100% of the time on one mutation, but or not 100% of the time, but 98, 99% of the time. But we know there's a secondary mutation that we can't test for yet. Fire was a D. I think now it's a B test. So I think red stripe is a D. Enchi, monsoon's definitely a D. I forget where Enchi is, but stuff that we know where there's weird things going on. That way you guys know what you're getting into, right? You can actually look and go, okay, so this is an A+ rated test. There should be zero problems. Expected accuracy rate of 99.9%. They've run over 1,000 samples, and there's a scientific paper already published about the genetics behind that mutation.
Yes.
So one of the things I wanted to point out is you can click the order now from any of the genes for RGI, but also, again, the 15% discount through our preferred vendors, Clutch and Morph Market, will be valid when their sites go live. And when they do, I just have to click a toggle switch and it turns everybody on, and it will look like this. So when those green buttons are there, and this is the only one I left like this so I could use it as an example. When those green buttons are there, that means that whatever this test is and every other test is now available at 15% off all the time. No promo code needed. So this is also another really good example of, this is an A grade test, has a scientific paper linked here. Here's a video that we did on the science behind it, but we also link other people's videos. So if any of you have social media presences where you've actually talked about mutations and you'd like us to link your videos, I'd love to. Send me an email. Tell me you'd like me to cross-link that for you on our website, and I'll be happy to do it. Hi, Mom.
Likewise, you can email me. I just posted the link below. So if you want to screenshot that or just write it down real quick, make sure you spell it right. Rare Genetics Social. There are 2 S's. Sometimes people get tripped up on that. But you can send it to me, or you can send it to Sean. I just know Sean gets a lot more emails than I do, and so that's why I threw mine on there. But I can add it too. Either way, one of us.
Yeah, I handle most of the customer service through that email, but I'm happy. Really, I want you guys to send your videos to me because I want to know who sent them in so I can make sure they get shout outs. So speaking of that, link to the scientific paper. No, that's okay. You can send it to Kayla too. She can add it, but she'll say something. These are all people that submitted sheds to help whoever wrote the paper write the paper, right? And then we have our own shout out section at the bottom of every page, just thanking people for, hey, thanks for sending us some stuff to help us validate our own internal tests, because all of our tests are a little bit different and we still have to validate them. And those of you that helped us do that, we try and, give everybody a shout out and say thank you. So I think that's it. A little bit of about us. There's Goofy Ben. There's me. There's Kayla. I've been trying for months now to get Allie, our main lab tech, to submit a picture and do a bio, and she refuses to do it. She also.
How did you get her to be the model for the first T-shirts that we got?
I told her that if she didn't do it, I would fire her.
No. Okay. What if she has an adorable little tortoise that she got at a show a couple years ago? What if she posted a picture of the tortoise? That could be
she could do that. The last time, I don't know if you remember, the last time we had her on our show, which was the only time, by the way, she brought the tortoise out to show him off, and he peed all over her lap while she was there.
I do remember that.
And I think since then she's like, yeah, I'm not doing that shit anymore. So anyway, so that's us. Contact information. We try to keep this super simple. If you need a bulk order, go here, scroll down, click this link, send me the template. I'll fill it out. I'll send you a link to share the spreadsheet with you, and we're in business. You can start sending me sheds right away. Super fast, super easy. In fact, the biggest wait is usually because I'm very busy and it takes me a half a day or so to get a quote out to somebody on a spreadsheet. But I'm trying to be quick. That's pretty much it. Help us develop a test. Big highlighted yellow button. That's just where you send the sheds.
Yep.
And this is research only. Notice the note here. Research sheds only. Don't send your paid sheds there and then ask me in a month why you don't have results. If you send them there, that's why. Because Ben will get them and he won't know what to do with them. So they'll go in a research bin instead of these need to be tested right now bin.
I at least catch some of them, but I don't run tests every day like they do in Texas. So if I do catch it, then I'll run it, but it might be like 1 to 2 weeks instead of 1 to 2 days. So
the last thing I wanted to show you guys was, let me share this other screen. I think I did it wrong. So hold on.
Oh, you're good.
Present, share screen.
Look at you go, Sean. You've been
This
learning.
I know I'm getting really good. Well, because I've been building a website.
Yeah, look at you go.
Yeah. Okay. So when you get your receipt, you'll get a receipt that looks like this. Probably looks really similar to those of you that ordered through Clutch because they use Stripe just like we do. But like I told you, when you get your receipt number, your animal number will be right here. Snake 1. That's what you need to label the bag with, along with this. But the gene that you purchased isn't going to be there. That's something that I'm working on still. That's going to take some pretty serious API programming. So it's going to take some additional time. But most of you know it's Snake 1. That's your animal ID number. You know what you need tested. So just make sure it's written on the bag, just like any other time you've ever ordered from us in the past. And we'll get you taken care of. And I can see what you ordered in Stripe. So I can go in and look up your order number and be like, oh, yeah, okay, these are the tests that he purchased. But still try to remember to write it on the bag because that makes processing the sheds when they come in a lot easier. Okay, that's it. I promise I'm done.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm wasting time when I'm doing tedious stuff like that.
Yeah. It's important. People ask questions about it. It's all good.
Yeah,
Maybe
the
saves
goal
you a headache in the future.
to help you guys, just look, I just want to get this animal tested. I don't want to screw around for 10 minutes figuring out how to do it on one of the bigger vendors where I have to create an account, this, that, and the other thing. Now it's super easy. Go in and literally within a minute, you can buy a test and you're done. So that was the whole goal of making this happen, is have it be super efficient. Now there's some really cool back end stuff that's coming, but that's going to be tested like crazy before we release it. But yeah, ultimately you'll be logging in online, checking all your own results and all that stuff. Right now, you're just getting an email that says, thank you, here's your result. Again, fast and easy.
Awesome.
And for the people that are excited about the 15% off, Sean, is that expected to be ongoing, like whether you go to one of our vendors, Morph Market or Clutch, or if you see a coupon or a discount code from one of the people we sponsor, we expect that to be long term, or is that something you can adjust right now that selling
my commitment to Morph Market and Clutch, because they've been so good to us, and I'm just one of those guys. I don't, even in business, I don't turn my back on people that I feel like did us right. It'll be 15% off on their sites as a bonus. They're going to call it, both sites are going to call it a loyalty reward. If you continue to use Morph Market or Clutch for your testing needs, you'll get that base 15% off any test, anytime, forever, as long as I get to make that decision. I think they've earned it. They helped us right at the beginning when we kind of stumbled onto this after 13 years or whatever. We were all of a sudden, oh crap, here we go. And we had no software and no support. We called both of those guys and said, we need your help. And they both said, okay, what can we do? And here we are at 60 tests, and they've released us from those agreements. And we still have agreements with them, but they released us from those parts of the agreements where we can sell independently. And look, it was a relatively easy case to make. They recognize that not everybody wants to go online and register an animal on a marketplace site or whatever. It's just too much work. They just want to buy a test, man. It's easy. They just want to buy a test. So that was the point. That's why we did it. They were really good to us. Now, as far as ongoing discounts, I was explaining this to a couple of our sponsors over the last few days. Everybody's at 15% right now. If there are things going on in the future where a special makes sense, like there's an event, or you're one of those guys that I can see now when people order through our website, the number of times someone uses a particular promo code. So I can see who's out there hustling and helping drive business to our site. I'll eventually reward those guys with, hey man, you get a 30-day, 35% off promo code for 30 days for all the work you did. Thank you. That kind of thing, right? So there will be other stuff coming, but right now you can pay full price and order really fast. If you don't know any of our sponsors, you can get a 15% discount if you do and use their promo code, or within a month, you'll be able to go to either Clutch or Morph Market, get flat 15% anytime. And oh, by the way, right now, the quantity discounts still exist on those sites. So you can go still get a 10 or 15% discount if you have a big order to place with those guys. Those haven't gone away, but they will. The quantity discounts are going away on those sites when they start doing the 15% loyalty. There's no more quantity discounts on those sites. If you want a quantity discount, you need to contact me through a bulk order. I think Clutch is designing a bulk order feature. So,
Yeah, so that's another cool part to this is we went through, and actually that's funny, this Leviathan showing their discount
Yeah.
code. So Steven at Leviathan, and Courtney supporting him as well, but Steven
Oh
spent a
yeah.
lot of time with us, helping us reach out, figure out who to talk to and reach out the people that we felt like were doing a really good job. So the people we've decided to sponsor, there was a lot of thinking and talking and planning that went behind that. So we chose those people because we feel like they're really doing an awesome job of representing, reptile breeders, reptile keepers, people that go and do reptile shows. And so this gives you also a chance, if you know any of those people we sponsor, or if you run across them, you like what they're doing, their content or whatever, this gives you a way to support them. So if you use their code, that's going to help them be able to, have better discounts to give, or help them, get more sponsorship support from us to them. So that's another cool aspect to this. You can kind of vote for the people we sponsor that you really like by using their codes. So
Yeah. Oh, I like this question from Critical. If you sent in a shed potato, please. If you sent in a shed of an animal that I can't read this, do you have to send in another shed if you want another test run? Wasn't sure if leftover sheds were held onto.
So the answer to that is definitely maybe.
Definitely, maybe.
I would say, Sean, would you say 3 months now, or is it more like 2?
Yeah, I run the testing lab. The standing rule right now is we save them for 3 months. One of I own a cleaning business. That's what I've been doing for 20 plus years. Allie came from that business, so she's very organized. She actually owned a little organizational business along with my cleaning business. She did some organizing on the side. Anyway, long story short, she has a very cool system of storing everything. You guys, I think, will get to see some of that on a video that Leviathan's going to release in the future.
Yeah.
Um, but she's got a cool little filing system. She keeps things generally longer than 3 months. My standing rule, though, is after 3 months, if they haven't ordered an additional test, get rid of it. Now, that doesn't mean if you send me a belly scale clip that I'm going to have enough material to do another test 3 months later. I may still have your bag because there's no reason to throw the bag away. But if you don't remember that you sent me a scale clip, I'm probably not going to have enough material to run another test. Okay, so if you want me to be able to hang on to useful DNA, you need to send me, a quarter size piece of shed like we asked, silver dollar size, somewhere in there. Last time I told her to clear out all of our sheds, and that was just a month ago, maybe. I mean, we had stuff going back to October. So, and it was all super organized. But the longer we have it, the more chance there is we're going to lose it, because we dig through those bags all the time looking for sheds that have mutations that we need for testing, develop new tests and stuff like that. And sometimes things don't get stuffed back in the correct bag, and I may still have it, but I can't sort through a thousand sheds to find it. If it's not in the bag on the date that we tested it the first time, we don't have it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it.
Yeah. From Morph Mechanics, for research shed submissions, is it helpful to send larger pieces of shed?
I would say there's never a time where we need more than a silver dollar. I mean, that's plenty. Even just a quarter, that's probably 50, 60 tests we can do.
Yep.
Silver dollar, I mean, we can do probably 100 on that. So yeah, there's no time where we need more than that. And I actually I think that you increase the chances of your shed being good by giving us that smaller piece. You pick a piece that's the cleanest, the most dry, flat, likely dried out the quickest. Like, sometimes the shed's all crumpled up and then like a little bit will be stretched out. That's the part you want to go to, is that stretched out part that's already kind of flat, because it likely didn't hold moisture there.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what you want to do. And definitely more than a silver dollar is not going to be helpful.
Good stuff. Let's see, what other questions do we have here? Mahogany update. Was that in the last research run?
Yeah, I've got more mahogany data. I'm working on it. Yeah, so mahogany and stranger and Nyala, those three that kind of people wonder, hey, how similar or different are they? Stuff like that. We've got data for all three of those that we're working on. So nothing that I can release today, but yeah, we've got data for all three.
Most of the commonly requested stuff, we've got data back already, or we have data that's coming back. with the exception of a few that we've said out loud that we're not messing with right now, like Mandarin. It's just getting reliable sheds has been difficult, and we have so many other things we think we can finish first. But most of the stuff that people have brought up today, most of it, not all of it, if it's an uncommon, not super common, we probably aren't focusing a lot of our time on it. But if it's a relatively common in the hobby, and we've mentioned before that we have research sheds, we've got data on it now. It's either in the last batch or the batch that we just got. So
Sweet.
there's a lot coming. We're just not going to say much more than that. There's just a lot coming.
And
we get the more volume. Sorry, I keep interrupting you guys. The bigger we get, the more volume we process, the more cash there is for resets. And we've really been able to speed up our pipelines because our volume has increased so much. So the more tests we get, the faster we can do the research. We've said that from the very beginning. And when we had 6 tests, if you go back to 2022, right?
Yep.
Even when we could get the research done that fast. And we thought we were clever and sequencing our research along with our paid tests. That way we can do both for the same amount of money. That worked great from a business standpoint, but customer service standpoint, not so much. So, but here we are 2.5 years later. It'll be 3 years in October. And we're smashing it. And because of the volume of tests we have available, if we don't hit 120 by this time next year, I'll be surprised. And they won't be all in ball pythons.
Ooh, I'm so excited. I just realized I didn't even include the piebald blood python thing on here. So and also in addition to this,
we probably are at 65 then. And then the question about sex determination in bloods, and someone else asked that about boas. That kind of stuff. Those are things we're working on. Like we said in earlier shows, we're hoping sometime in 2025 we have some more species we can do sex determination for. So
we should have some really cool stuff to talk about by the end of the year.
Yeah, I hope so.
And this question here, Adam Granger, I understand it'd be good business, but as a customer, is it worth testing butter to see if it's really butter or just lesser? So from my selfish standpoint, I want to know as much as I possibly can about the mutations that make the morphs that we all, are excited about in ball pythons and other reptiles too. So I guess that for me, it's kind of more of an academic thing. And thankfully, our business model is one where, we have it set up. You have a bunch of choices. So if a customer does think that it's worth running that test to find out, they can. And if they don't, that's okay. We just won't run butters that day or that week or whatever. We're fine with that. We have that capability. So if somebody wants to do it, we can. The biggest thing that I think it helps is people that have run a butter / lesser test got a negative. They're like, but it looks like a lesser or a butter. Well, now on the panel, you're going to get both. So before we were just running lesser and not knowing there was another mutation for butter. Now, if you run that, either the Blue-Eyed Lucy panel here very soon, or that full panel, then you'll know, oh, okay, yes, I do have a lesser or a butter. And in my case, it's a lesser, or in my case, it's a butter. So really, thankfully, the business model we have is one where I can do my nerd stuff and we can make that available to you. If you want to do it, it's there. You have that choice. If you don't, that's fine too. Like, it's up to you.
It's process of elimination too. I mean, they're very similar, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there aren't any other mutations in that complex that look really like a lesser or butter. They're similar, but they do look different enough that you can usually call them. So if you test for lesser and it's negative, there's a very, very, very high probability it's a butter. That's pretty much to 100% success rate what we've encountered so far on everything that came back that was a het lesser but was a white snake. When we tested for the other gene, it was butter. Right. So it's process of elimination. If you know what you're doing, you don't have to buy all of our tests to sort it out. Clown cryptic. There's a lot of things where one test purchase will tell you what you're dealing with without having to go all the way down the rabbit hole. So, but again, I mean, second test on an animal is $20. I can't take my kid out. I can't take my kid out to lunch to Burger King for $20. So
yeah, tragically,
I know it's stupid.
So the options are there. If you want to use it, do. If you don't, that's fine too.
Yeah. I'm just throwing this up here. We were talking about just silver dollar size. That's perfect as far as sending in sheds, and as much info as you have on it. We like that. That helps us, especially if we're. Where was that? There was a question earlier that would be like, yeah, like with chocolate and Raven, where we've pretty much figured out those are basically the same thing. Asterisk, unless something like lesser in butter happens.
Hey, I want to say something about that. Did you guys see when you posted that the founder of Raven posted on that thread and said he disagrees, that he thinks they're different. He gave some examples. I answered him, that's super interesting. Please send us some sheds and come on the show tonight. Maybe we can get some history. So I invited him to come in here, but I haven't seen him show up. So, but that could be a situation like lesser butter, where everything we've gotten in has just been mislabeled.
Yeah,
maybe Raven is. So if we can get the founder to send us his animals and they test different, then he could be right. But this, from what we can tell so far, based on what the hobby has sent us, they look the same. So,
and in talking with Charlie, he said he sees the same thing too. All the ravens he's gotten in have all tested the same as chocolate. So it's not just us.
Yeah. And it's also totally possible that it's also totally possible that, there's like a marker that rides along with what we're calling chocolate the vast majority of the time that has been selected for in the Raven lines. And so it's not actually something different, but there is a marker that's been selected for in Raven that wasn't necessarily selected for in chocolate. And so it could be something like that. But more sheds from people who are for sure that they have ravens will be what helps us find that out.
Yep. Yeah, we'd love to run more. We're all for it.
Oh yeah.
I want to say a couple things. Just to go back to the sales site, and you don't have to go all the way back there, Kayla. Just look, we know this site. We literally built this and called it the quick and dirty site. So if you guys find things that are buggy or don't seem like, I can only test it so much myself, and there are so many gene combinations. If things don't seem like they're working right, please reach out and let me know, and I'll jump right on it and try to fix it. No matter how much you test something, until you run a couple hundred people through it, you just don't know where every little thing. Just some feedback today from someone about changing the way the buttons look on the initial sales page. I never really thought about it, but I agree with her. I think taking those off would make more sense. It would just look cleaner and easier to navigate. Then the other thing I wanted to point out is we mentioned it earlier, and if you guys have all been here since the beginning, then you're going to get to hear me say it again, but I'm saying it because I think it's pretty cool. We have a second mutation for fire now that we can test for.
Yeah.
So if you have fire animals that have tested negative in the past, but you swear it's fire, we'll run that fire B test for free. You just got to get me another shed. Give me the old order number and I can update it with, the data on the new test. But we didn't really get that out earlier, but that second mutation is now found, available, can test for it. And we owe you guys some free testing if you've got a question and you think that animal's got fire, but it came back negative for that first one. So take advantage, spread the word.
Email Sean.
If it tested positive before, then you're good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Exciting. So are you guys able to tell if that second fire mutation is it like Ultramel A and B, or is it just like something entirely new?
It's definitely a different mutation. One question is, some fires have orange blotches on them.
Yes.
Some super fires have orange blotches on them and some don't. So it's possible that homozygous for one or the other, or having at least one copy of one or the other, is what gives you those orange blotches, but we don't know. So that's something that if you have super fires, especially if you have super fires producing the same clutch where some have the orange blotches and some don't, I'd love to see those sheds and see, if it was a fire to a fire, and any of their supers should have the same, if those both are the same, they're going to all be the same. If they're, one and the other, any supers that they make are going to have one copy of each. But if you bred a fire to a super fire, or two super fires together, you could have different genotypes in there. You could have, some fire A, some fire B. You could have some that are homozygous for A, some that are homozygous for B. So anyway, if you have super fires where some have blotches and some don't, that'd be kind of fun to chase that down. It's more
Yeah,
nerdy
for sure.
stuff.
We love nerdy stuff. So is it related to any other fire-like mutations like sulfur or anything like that? Have you run it against any of those? I guess we don't have sulfur yet, so.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we don't have a sulfur test yet, but yeah, that's something else I'm working on. So that's why we're not done with the fire complex yet. But I think we will be here before too long. But like I said, today we've got vanilla and disco. So if you can test for fire and vanilla and disco, that's pretty much everything there. But the odds and ends, there's some others like lucifer, like sulfur, a few others that there's LSR fire, things like that. We're still running more of those so that we'll know for sure if they are one of the mutations we already know about, or if there's something different. So we'll let y'all know when we get it figured out.
Yeah. Ooh, Rhinos Royals. If you have any of those,
so that's super sulfurs. So I would really love.
Sulfurs. You're right. Sorry.
I would really love to have super sulfur sheds. Yes, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I can use those, and then to answer the orange blotch question, that might help us if we find out that there's something similar about the type of mutation or what it does to the protein or whatever. That would be cool.
Nice. Secretary Booty Juice. That is such a good username. When's the fader test coming out? Is fader a thing? Or is
it's definitely a thing.
Oh, okay.
It will come out when you all send us enough sheds. I don't have very many fader sheds, so that's what you want. We need a lot more sheds coming in. So yeah, we'd be happy to do it. We just don't have enough sheds.
The thick plottins. Yeah.
Did you just say the thick plottins?
Yeah.
I think you did.
The thick plottins. So the plot thickens. My brain automatically likes what I love. That's one of my favorite genres of nonsense. It's just like swapping letters like that.
Oh my God, Christy. Ugh.
Yeah, we'll get to that one too. So if we come across homozygous pinstripe, leopard, or calico, so the only one of those three we have a test for is leopard. And yes, we've definitely tested many homozygous leopards for people. And for Miguel at Always Evolving Pythons, it was really funny. The first testing we did for him, he sent it to us, and I ran the test, and I called him. I was like, hey, a couple of these came out as super leopard. Was that something you expected in the pairing? Because it was the first time that we, kind of at the beginning of having the leopard test, I was like, hey, was there leopard on both sides? Is that a possibility? He's like, not only is that a possibility, but I have that clutch hatching today from that female. And so we cut them open, and every single baby had leopard in it. So yeah, so the super leopard does exist. It is a truly dominant mutation. So the heterozygote and the homozygote for leopard look similar enough. You can't tell them apart visually. But yes, there are super leopards. Once we have a pinstripe and a calico test, I'll be able to tell you what we see.
I need to change that. I might have it wrong on the website. I might have it as an incomplete dominant.
Really?
Yeah, it's dominant. That's the best example, and proven with enough research to say, yeah, that is a dominant mutation.
This is what I've been doing all day, Sean, going into the website.
Same.
Live on the show.
Oh yeah. So this man's working while he's working. Let's see. Will's hella heat. Is Wookiee different but close, or completely different on a completely different allele?
So that's talking back to the chocolate and Raven conversation, I would imagine. Yeah, it's definitely a different mutation than chocolate/Raven, or what we've seen of Ravens so far. Like we said, we'd be happy to run more samples. So yeah, that's definitely Wookiee is different than chocolate. For sure. It's a different mutation. It's in the same gene, that same complex as spider, spot nose, bongo. There's 10 of them that we do in that complex. They're all in that same gene, but they're 10 different mutations.
Don't skip Christy if you haven't brought it up yet. That's one.
I'm about to bring that up. There we go. Kristen Dion, how's that potential fourth black pastel looking?
that's another thing we got a lot more data for. So yes, I'm working on that.
Perfect example of what we've been talking about.
Yes.
Right. We have 60 tests, 57 tests or something, but really we have more like 70 because so many of these have multiples. If Barnhart turns out to be the only kind of standout because it's slightly different, whenever you send a black pastel test, and we're going to have to run 3 separate tests on your sample, right? So none of us knew this in the beginning. I try to explain this to everybody as we talk. Like Ben and I have been hobbyists for a combined probably 50 years, if you combine our years, right? A long time. And we didn't suspect this. Ben's a geneticist. He didn't suspect it to be like this. So it's a trip. I love the fact that there's so much about these that we don't know. And it's those of you, there are a few of you that chase some of these specific lines down rabbit holes that I pay a lot of attention to because I want to see if you can prove that they're different visually or what the visual super form of, black pastel D looks like. Anyway, sorry.
Cool. Oh no, you're good.
I geeked out for a minute, but.
And I was talking recently with the Canadian group and the Eastern Michigan group, so Heather and Hannah, and they're still working on those too. So yeah, it's something, we took a lot of work to get monsoon figured out. Black pastel is very complicated, and we're working on it.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, cool. Do we have those sheds? Kristen Dion. I had a clutch that was supposed to be from a black pastel pied, but all the babies tested negative for all the current 3.
So when you say 3, I guess you're talking cinnamon also. So yeah, that definitely has a different look to it. But when it's in a pied and there's not much, especially if it's a high white pied, then it is kind of hard to tell a cinnamon pied from a black pastel pied. But yes. So yeah, for black pastel itself, we have our black pastel test and our Barnhart black pastel test. So it was negative for both of those and negative for cinnamon. That's an excellent example. There's BC Balls, Brian Carter. He ran a whole bunch of animals that, obviously some of them had to be black pastel, but they're all negative. So it does happen here and there where people have something from that other line of black pastel, and we'll hopefully close that up here pretty quick.
Yeah. Did you ever get any ENG or Outback black pastel or Lesson black pastel labeled sheds?
Yes, for sure from Outback. I don't know about Lesson or Leeson. I think I've heard people say it Leeson, but I don't know for sure that we have Leeson line, but I definitely have Outback.
Cool. And Mom finally, back to Kristen, but I'll knock over my water. Mom finally shed since I got those surprise results, and hers is getting sent in. Cool. I'm excited.
Hopefully here pretty quick, we'll have that answer for you with another, at least one more black pastel looking animal test. Like we said, they look similar enough that will probably be something that we'll have to run in the background. Like we talked about fire earlier, we'll have to run multiple tests for black pastel, and yours might be in that group. So we'll have that soon.
Yeah. How about odium?
Just need more odium sheds. We do have, actually, I might have it right by here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did actually get a pile of odiums from, I'll look really quick so I can say his name.
Oh yeah. Also, we can appreciate the new paintings up on Ben's wall.
Yeah, I'm in a very temporary setup, but Ben and I are trying to get more professional places to do.
You can tell I'm the one that hung these up. There's not really any good artisticness to them.
Can you guys see? Can you see my sculpture up there?
Oh, oh, that's cool.
Yes,
dude, that's really well done.
That's my favorite Morelia up there.
It's actually. Oh, that's actually one of your animals that's been taxidermied.
It's not mine. It's just a carving, hand carved, painted.
Oh, I see.
Piece of art of a Boland's that I fell in love with and probably paid way too much for, but I don't care because it looks cool up there.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Definitely
awesome sculpture. That's cool.
So
so
it's
who?
Doug that sent in the odiums. He sent in a bunch of lucifers too. So thank you, Doug. And I've been messaging with him. I'm going to be getting more stuff from him. He's
Oh,
got
yay.
a nerd, and so thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, fantastic.
And those are the guys that get the shout outs on the webpage, by the way. When we get a new test, those are the guys that get links to their websites and, videos if they got them created. So keep sending them in, guys. We'll definitely give you credit.
For sure. Morph Mechanics asks, do we need more calico and pin sheds for research?
Yeah, I don't know for sure about pin. Like we'll take more pin sheds, but calico for sure. And anyone that if you feel confident that you have like a sugar animal, so I would like to have enough sugars and calicos to run them separately, but then also run them together through the software, so just to kind of see if they separate out or not, and then obviously be able to design a test for either each one individually or both if they end up being the same thing. So yeah,
Cool.
pins. If you've got some pin stuff, especially if you think you might have a homozygous pin, like if you did a pin to pin breeding and any of those babies could be homozygous pins, I would definitely like those sheds.
Yeah.
I won't be able to tell you until I have the test, whether they are or not, but I would be very interested in having some.
Yes. Holy cow. Edward, don't have a question, just thankful that we exist. And you dropped $75. Thank you. Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
that might be a record, Edward. Thank you for that. That's super nice.
Thank you, Edward. Oh, that's
Super.
fantastic.
Bod's Exotics. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you.
Hi, guys. All right. I think those are all of the starred questions I had. Yeah.
Are we running out of questions? It's only been an hour and 45 minutes.
I know. Anything on Instagram? Do we have anything on Instagram, Ben?
Let's see. Bill Word 1430 says he's sending berm sheds. So awesome.
Yes, please.
I am traveling to one of the bigger breeders of giant snakes and boas in 10 days. And if I don't come home with 200 samples, I'll be disappointed.
Which one is it? I want to know.
I am not going to say.
Dang it. Okay.
Just in time for our next big run.
Cool.
A lot's coming.
Yeah, I'm so excited for giant species morph testing. That's going to be a game changer.
Yeah, more species is going to be fun. Yeah. God Frogger says, what is the relative percentages of fire A to fire B? In our sampling that we've done, we definitely see a higher percent of A. That's why that's the one we saw to begin with. But there are some Bs that have come through that second mutation for sure. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I would say it's something like 80-20 or 85-15, something like that. But it could be that we get a whole bunch from someone in a week or two that's, all from one male they bought, 10 years ago. And all of a sudden we've got 30 more that are, the other mutation. That's definitely possible.
Yeah.
So far, we're definitely seeing more of the first mutation that we found. So Jeremy, we definitely love to get tornado sheds. We would be happy to work on it. I know they're so rare right now. There aren't a lot of them. But yeah, if we can get as much genetic variation as possibly out there, so as outbred as people have, obviously it's good to have homozygous tornadoes, but any hets where they've been outbred, to have more genetic variation, that actually helps our software to find that actual tornado mutation. So yeah, we would love to get sheds from you and anyone else that can send sheds to us. Every shed we get gets us closer. We aren't at a point with tornado where we are sequencing yet. We're still collecting sheds, so it will be a little bit, unless you line some people up, you yourself and some others send a bunch in, then all of a sudden 20 sheds come up, then it moves up to the top of the list. So
yeah. Michelle Brugg Hawthorne, any more info on corn snake genetic testing?
So we've got the sex determination and the 4. We've got they're amelanistic, and then we've got scaleless, terrazzo, and lavender. Mm-hmm. So we have that so far for corn snakes, and that is another species. We've got stuff rolling right now. So So yeah, 2025, definitely expect to have more corn snake stuff coming.
Yay. That's awesome.
Okay. So I'm going to admit to something on here because I don't do this very often, but I got rid of most of my snakes because RGI's, well, I mean, it's 8 o'clock my time, and I still have to update results tonight or first thing tomorrow morning. So I'm putting a lot of time and energy into RGI, and I let my snake hobby fade. But the reality is that I built this house and like 2 big giant rooms for just my reptiles, and they're almost completely empty with the exception of maybe a couple dozen of my very favorite animals. And I did a thing the other day. Do you want to see?
Yeah.
Let's see.
All right,
Yeah. What thing is that?
Hold on.
Hmm?
Hold on. Don't laugh at me. Okay, which one is it? There it is.
You can do it. There we go. Add to stage. Oh, well.
Can you see it?
There we go. Heyo.
Oh man.
No, did you get berms?
I bought a trio of berms.
You got berms. Oh my gosh. Oh, those are gorgeous. Look at that albino
one of my very first snakes. I'm 55 years old. I bought, I shit you not, a 14-foot adult normal Burmese python out of the newspaper when I was a teenager and didn't even have a driver's license. So this is a throwback to my childhood where I have a normal appearing animal, an albino, and then an albino pied male. So these are going to be my 3 new projects for my big rooms. I'm going to have to build 3 big cages. So
awesome.
All right.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Okay. That's not even really a flex because it's not like they're expensive, but like I've always had a thing for berms and because it was one of my first snakes and pieds are so awesome and albino pieds are even cooler. So I couldn't, this was an auction and it was such a great deal. I'm like, okay, I have to.
I got it. Yeah.
So,
there
all right.
you go.
Sorry.
Oh no, that's okay.
Side trip over. I thought
I
you
don't
guys
know if Sean saw this comment.
55.
What?
You look 25. Edward, you're being really nice to us.
You can have all the testing you want. Email me at raregeninc.com and I'll hook you up.
Yeah.
Oh, funny.
I get that a lot actually, and I give it all up to the fact that I'm a very, very active person. I eat pretty healthy, even though I got a little bit of a belly. That's because I have a wife who loves to cook. But I'm a big fan of exercise, and like I still go up and hike in the mountains for a couple of weeks every year, and up until about 2 months ago, play ice hockey every Saturday night. So I'm not the sort to sit around. But like right now, it's time to work. It's time to make RGI into something really big before I retire. So I've been slamming, and those berms are kind of my little reward to myself. So I appreciate the compliment, though, Edward. Seriously, I'm right there with you, Rod. I'm right there with you.
Nice. Oh, Sculpted Scales was asking about my hog noses. They're great. I actually got 3 of the 4 to eat food from the tongs right away.
That's awesome.
Which is amazing for hog noses. I was expecting to have to fight it, but little man.
For many species, you get 75% first try.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm real happy. And I got one little chunky man who's like the size of my pinky, I mean, he's already chunky. He didn't feel like eating, which is fine. But I call him the beef master. But thank you for asking. They're good.
I see Clover's Reptiles joined in on IG.
Hi, Clover's Reptiles.
Alvaro, we were going to maybe do a podcast tonight, but ends up 2 weeks from now, right? We're going to be talking about actually hog stuff. So he's big with hogs.
Yeah.
And there's in your hog nose genetic stuff you sent me today, Kayla. What was the very last one at the bottom? I think it was that line of hypo. It was part of it's part of a combo.
Yeah.
Evan's hypo.
What part of it?
I think
Frost. That's it. Yeah. That's what we're talking about, right, Alvaro?
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty.
Not that there's probably a lot of hognose people in here, but can I tell you a funny story about Evan's hypo?
Please do.
Yeah. I think I've told you before, Ben. So again, I'm old, and I I went to Texas Tech University in Lubbock. And when I was 18, 19 years old in college, I would go field herping all the time. They have like long-nosed snakes and all these cool natives up there. And there was this guy who owned a pet store in Lubbock. We caught a lot of hognose and stuff like that. And anybody local who brought him wild caught stuff, he would buy it and either sell it through his pet store or ship it out to other pet stores across the country. And he became a guy who started breeding hognose snakes, and that was Richard Evans, the founder of Evans Hypo and a few other mutations in hognose snakes. He was probably the first guy to focus on mutations in hognose, I think, in the country, if not the world. And like, I met the dude when I was 18 years old and field herping and selling longnose snakes for $5 so that I could afford to buy a pizza and beer. So, funny story.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine. Like,
long time ago. I don't even know if he's still alive. I would assume he is because he wasn't much older than I was then. So he's maybe in his late 60s, I would guess now, if that. So I don't know though. If anybody knows, I'd love to find out if he's still alive. He would totally not remember me. I don't know. He might because I had my import business back then too. When I launched my import business, he's one of the stores that used to buy all the like crocodile lizards and all the crazy stuff I used to bring in back in the day.
Yeah. Awesome.
Sorry, another Sean story time.
We like Sean's story time. And clearly at least 40 other people do too. So
that's right.
Fair enough.
Not to mention the folks on Instagram. So.
Yeah, we've got a few there too.
Awesome.
Well, since I've got more analyzing to do and Sean's got updating to do, maybe we will wrap up. So,
sounds good.
Any more? We've got Sean stories. Any
Thanks,
more last comments or questions? But we'll wrap. Just once again, heartfelt, sincere thank you to all of you that send in sheds, that order tests, that come and be a part of either social media or YouTube. Videos we do. We really appreciate it. We're all three of us nerd out on this stuff anyway. We count ourselves very lucky to be able to have your trust in us to do it as a business, and I know I am very thankful every day I get to do this for my job is awesome. So thank you.
Same. Pays my bills too. I'm very grateful.
If you would have told me forever ago that I would get 80 to 100 people on a YouTube podcast, if on any computer device to listen to us talk about snakes, I would have told you were batshit crazy. So it's pretty humbling when we get to do these. And that's why I don't do them that often, because honestly, it always kind of shocks me how many people listen to what we have to say. I mean, I still feel like I'm a kid who's trying to figure stuff out, So, no, seriously, thanks you guys for everything. Just the fact that you sit through and hash stuff out with us and ask questions and help us get information out there. It's a lot of fun. We're very, very lucky.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you're in chat, don't forget to drop a like. Yes, please.
Truth.
Drop a like and share.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Appreciate it.
Go back and watch a live from like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
When you get bored, you're like, wow, things really have changed a lot. It's a trip how different we are now.
That's true. Yeah. It's good background noise while you're washing dishes or something. Driving to work. Ball python people hop on the Colubrid train. I second that.
Or be like me and do both.
Both, yes, because eventually it's going to happen. I work for you guys. I'm going to get a ball python someday. What it's going to be, I don't know, but it's going to happen.
I can send you a berm.
You can send me a berm. Honestly, Jay and I have been debating. We have this house. I got these 6-foot tanks back here. It could happen. So
you have to keep an eye on potato at that point.
That's true. Well, all right. Oh, and you do try to. Awesome. You have a hypo for. Yeah, there you go. Honestly, hypo is one of my favorites. I like hypos, and honestly, 2 years ago, Ben made this really pretty Mojave combo, and it was stripy all the way down. And it was the spiciest clutch ever. Every time you open the rack, they were trying to pop you. They were my favorites. I like grumpy things. So, which is why I'm also interested in retics, but that's its own thing. But every time I looked at that animal, I was like, maybe. But I was still in my old apartment, so it wasn't going to happen. When she finally sold, I was like, oh, finally.
Oh.
Now I won't have to think about it every time I see her.
Another Sean story. Speaking of Stripey, so we
Yeah.
have a little sand boa that was named Stripey. I brought him out on the show once or twice before. That was my daughter. Stripey died.
No,
He's gone.
Stripey.
He did. But we got Stripey when he was a little pencil snake when my daughter was 5 and she's 28.
Wow.
Oh, so he lived a good life.
We had that snake for 23 years.
Oh,
23 years.
Stripey. Well, I'm sorry about Stripey, but that's a really, really good life.
It was not a sad passing. We all were like, well, that's pretty old.
It's like, oh, well, he's yeah. Oh.
I mean, it's not that we don't care, right? Well, obviously we care. It's like bummer, but we were all at around year 20. Like, I wonder how much longer this is going to last.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, but they're so deceptive because like they're hiding all the time, and as long as they're feeding, but the last several months he had gone off feed and wouldn't eat, and it was a matter of time. So I think we were prepared. But yeah, man, I look at my old collection before I started getting rid of some things, and I had a lot of really old animals, 23, 24, 25, 26 years old, really old pythons.
Yeah. Yeah, like I like to keep my animals for their full lifespan if I can.
Xavier just chimed in. Hey, Xavier, we're about to finish because we've been doing this for 2 hours. Where have you been?
Xander. Yeah, what's up, Xander?
Xander. Sorry,
I said Xander. That's okay. Cool X names.
Glad you popped in, and you'll have to check out the website with the shout outs for people that donated sheds. We got you in there a few times. Royal X Reptiles.
Definitely. All right. Okay, I guess we're actually calling it this time. Like any good bean dip, a Southern Goodbye has like at least 5 layers. So
Xander made it, so now we can end.
So now we can. All right, everybody, make sure you do, like, comment, subscribe. Helps us out in the algorithm. Share, please. Oh, wait, one last comment. Will we be attending any big shows like NARBC? We'll be at Tinley and
Daytona, SERE, the Southeastern Reptile Expo.
And I'll be at Daytona this year. We'll be at SEER in a month. We'll be at the October Tinley. We still can't get a table there, though, like anybody else. So we'll be walking around as we normally do, just kind of talking to folks.
Bluebird Fest. Yeah, there's several. We'll start talking about those in our weekly show now that they're all ramping up.
Definitely. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining, especially if you spent the last 2 hours with us. Y'all are awesome. All right. Later, guys.